Hello, everyone, and my name is Marcy. Welcome to Tales from the Catalogs, Episode 9. Well, we are nearly at the end of the season. I hope you guys are doing all right, and I hope you guys have also been enjoying the season. We sure did have fun making it. I'm kind of sad that we're going to be ending soon, but that's all right. More future plans. Anyway, for this episode, we are going to be looking into the lives of asylum staff. Spooky, am I right? And there are strange happenings going on in this asylum. So stay tuned to find out what they are and how the staff feel about it, I guess. Trigger warning for this episode. This episode will contain mentions of body horror, suicide, and suicidal attempts. If you are sensitive to such topics, please refrain from listening further and take care of yourself. Your health and safety is far more important. Disclaimer: this is a work of fiction. Any and all names or places that match real life are purely coincidental. To your right, there is a door. Once you cross this threshold, you shall weave your life with the threads of your unbecoming. It will unfold before you, grasp you, and you have no choice but to hold its darkness. For in darkness, we have reason to find the light.
Look, I don't really know why I'm sharing this with you all, but I guess I have to let it out somewhere, and this is the best place to do it. I know not many people would believe me if they heard me, so I'm not expecting any of you to believe me anyway. What matters is that I can finally get this off my chest, or I'll go fucking insane, and I don't want to be the one stuck in a mental ward. I just work in a place that houses and treats them. I don't have to be one of them. I mean, I'm not even one of the medical staff. I'm the fucking night guard. Oh yeah, normally you'd go like, that's an okay job, right? Great even. Fuck no. Not when you're the one who has to deal with the creepy shit I have to deal with at night at my workplace. I don't mean the patients, Jesus Christ. Sure, the patients have issues and need a lot of help, but they're not the fucking problem here. Well, some of them aren't a problem. Some of them do make your hair stand on end, though. And it's not just me, too. The other staff can tell you that they get the creeps around them as well. It always felt like someone was watching us all the time. Ask any of us who work there, and they tell you the exact same thing as I did. Something is fucking watching us while we work our asses off in there. Just fucking listen, alright? I'm not here to try and convince you that what I've seen and experienced is real. I'm here to tell you a story, okay? So you will sit there and fucking listen like a good audience should. You hear me? Good. Now, where to start? I've already told you about how there's always a feeling of being watched when we're working. I guess I should just tell you guys the other shit that happened to us staff there. Let's see. One of the other night guards, Greg, swears he hears muttering whenever he passes by one of the empty wards in the west wing of the asylum. Swears he hears his grandma's voice coming from that room. Even if we've told him again and again that nobody is in there. Hell, we even opened it for him to see that nobody's in there, but I guess that's what you get when you work where you sent your grandma to. Ellen, she's one of the janitors who work there. She says that there's always blood to mop in the boiler room. Always at 10:31 in the evening, there'd be a pool of slowly drying blood near the back of the boiler room waiting to be mopped. Like clockwork. Every night. Hell, she's even tried staying there for 30 minutes before it happens, and waited there until it was time. Well, 1 second there was an empty boiler room, and the next, well, there was a puddle right there, taunting her. All it took was a blink, and there it was. Don't know the reason it happens, and I don't want to know. There's plenty of things us humans don't understand. So what's one more? Not like it's going to hurt us more than this fucking planet already has. Personally, I've done rounds going around the entire facility. I'm not the only night guard around, but apparently, I'm the only one who has the fucking balls to do my rounds. Well, it's either that, or I'm the only one who's not a lazy fuck and is actually doing their job of making sure that the damn place is safe. It's not like it needs any help in keeping people out. Not when it can creep even those that work in it. People stay well away from it, even without the threat of going to jail if they're caught trespassing. I'm sure the screaming of some of the patients is enough to scare them away. Now I've got a collection of weird shit that's happened to me too, but I'd like to go through the stuff that my work buddies have experienced before we get to me. So, we left off with Ellen and her mysterious puddle of blood in the boiler room. Leonard's also got his stack of teeth. Well, less of a stack and more of a pile, really. 'Cause you can't really stack teeth, you know? You just sort of toss them in a pile. Funny story about Leonard's pile of teeth is that he spits them out himself. That's right. For the past, I don't know, 15 years? Yeah, that sounds about right. For the past 15 years that Leonard has been working here, he spat out a tooth per month. At a minimum, really. Usually about once per month, maybe twice at most. We like to joke and call it his time of the month. We once had Leonard explain to us how it happens, and oh fuck man, it is disgusting. He says it grows inside of his mouth like it's being fast forwarded. He feels it growing like an extra wisdom tooth, all in the span of an hour. He's gotten so used to it happening that once he feels like it's about to happen, he just chugs down a painkiller and just sits there, spacing out. He just lets it happen and spits out a bloody tooth afterwards. If you get near enough to him while it's happening, you could even hear muffled snapping noises coming from his mouth. Then we got Daryl. Oh, fuck, how do I explain what happens to Daryl? He, he, um, he emulates himself. I mean, we can't really do anything about it, and we've tried convincing him to quit the job so it can stop, but he really needs the money, so he's staying. The dude's only been working at the asylum for what, 2 months? And he's got it worse than any of us. The good thing is, he doesn't remember it happening once he's finished burning. He has to warn us every time he's about to go in to fix the circuit breakers. The first time it happened, everyone assumed it was one of the patients screaming their lungs out, until I had to be the one to stumble into Daryl, burning to a crisp in the breaker room. God, I could still smell the burning flesh. Do you know what charred flesh smells like? You'd think burning flesh would smell like smoke and ash, but no, it did not smell like that at all. It smelled sweet, kind of like caramel popcorn, and the longer I stood there, the stronger the scent became. Thick enough that I could taste it in my mouth. Scratch the caramel popcorn bit, really. It smelled more like burnt beef with burning hair mixed with an earthy metallic scent you'd always smell from blood. It's a smell that doesn't leave you. At first you'd think that someone just left meat on the stove for too long, but no. A human burning will always smell undoubtedly human, and it will haunt you forever. You can never get used to smelling something like that, but once you do, you'll always recognize that smell. Always. Fuck, that got heavy, didn't it? Well, it ain't going to get any better from here on out. Not as bad as Daryl, but still. Bad shit happens in the asylum. Remember what I said about Greg hearing shit from one of the empty wards? Well, he's not the only one who hears them. Jenna, one of the nurses, nice girl that one, hears them too. She hears it from a different room, though. It used to be a ward. The room, I mean. It's a storage room now. We put the spare equipment and utilities in there for safekeeping. Jenna avoids that room like the fucking plague now. See? Unlike the non-existent muttering that Greg hears from the empty ward, Jenna's muttering lady actually fucking exists. One of the previous asylum patients, actually. Long fucking dead. But I guess she liked our hospitality enough to stay. At first, Jenna wanted to try and help the lady move on to the afterlife and find peace or whatever. But, it didn't exactly end well for her. We found her staring at the wall, muttering about something. That was after the second attempt she made at talking with the spirit. I asked her once what made her disassociate so badly, and she just said something about disgusting hands and how cold it was. Shit got so bad after her third attempt that we saw Jenna clawing at her neck as if she was choking, while the lady was looking down at her with unblinking eyes. She was gasping for breath, and you could audibly hear her struggling to take in air. I had to push through my coworkers crowding around the door to the room to get to her, because no one thought that, oh fuck, someone should help her. Useless. All of them, I tell you. I mean, I tried telling Daryl to stop fixing the circuit breaker and have someone else do it, but no. No one else would fix the damn circuit breaker because they think it's Daryl's thing now. So, we're just going to let the guy burn to death every few days? I mean, he gets back up and is fine after it, but really? I tried helping Jenna with her helping the spirit thing once too. Let's just say that the lady still doesn't like men, even in death. Fair enough. After reading through your file, I could understand why. Nathan doesn't really do much in the asylum. He's just sort of there. I'm not even sure that he's part of the staff, and I've worked at the asylum for a long-ass time. He just sort of appeared there one day. He likes to follow one of us around every day. Helps us with our jobs and generally is just a helpful dude. A bit weird, though. For the first few years, he always looked like he was having trouble with his body. Like he didn't know how to move it properly. He'd stumble around and knock things about all the time before. Now, Nathan moves a lot easier. More natural. Still a bit stiff, though. Like breaking in a new pair of shoes. Nathan would follow us and help us in our jobs, yeah. But at the start, he was more of a nuisance, really. He'd clumsily try to mimic our actions, try to act as closely to how we would at times, but his movements would always be too slow or too fast, as if he was still getting used to his body. He never spoke for the first year or two as well. Almost gave me a heart attack the first time he spoke up right behind me as I was making my rounds. I mean, I knew he was behind me at the time, but I wasn't expecting him to say something all of a fucking sudden. I was expecting silence and footsteps, not a "How long have you worked here?" Some kind of bullshit. The first time Nathan spoke, he sounded too young, but too old at the same time, if you know what I mean. It was like he couldn't decide on what he wanted to sound like. Nowadays, he sounds like a tired-ass college student, but like, permanently. No matter how much we make him sleep or rest, he sounds tired all the time. I don't know why he wants to sound like that, but good on him. As for me, though, I've worked long enough in the asylum that I've got a varied collection of experiences. Like with Jenna and her muttering lady. That was a hectic week. Just because Jenna wouldn't give up. I've had to cover for Ellen whenever she got sick, and I've had to mop up the blood puddle too. One thing that will stick with me for the rest of my life, though, is the day I found out what this asylum did to me. Like how it makes Daryl burn and come back alive, it made me different. I started work pretty early that night I found out what the asylum did to me. It started pretty standard, too. Would you have believed I was a bright-eyed and bushy-tailed guy back then? Yeah, I know. I wouldn't believe me either. It's true, though. I was a pretty happy dude back then. Anyway, I walked into the asylum with one of those styrofoam cups with coffee inside to keep me awake throughout the night. Made sure to stock up on snacks on my little baggie pack to make sure I didn't get hungry while working. Anyway, we we had an older night guard back then. She was sort of like a mentor to me, I guess, if you want to call her that. She taught me everything I knew about this job, all of the rules and all of the quirks of the asylum that nobody else knew. It's toned down in the past years, but back then the asylum was an entirely different kind of monster. Sometimes literally. So, imagine my surprise when Teresita, my mentor, shoved me into the security room all of a sudden in the middle of our routine patrol and told me not to go out no matter what I heard. I heard a lot during that, trust me. A lot of loud crashing noises, metal scraping metal, and a gun being fired. That gun being fired was what got me to open that door and peek out. God, that was a fucking mistake. When I poked my head out, I saw something. It looked human. It didn't sound like anything human at all, though. It didn't move like a human either. It growled and howled. It was hurt. I could see the gaping wound that the bullet my mentor fired left on it. That was my mistake, though. Teresita was about to finish it off when I distracted her by opening that door. She looked away from it and it snapped her. Just like that, she was torn into two. Then the thing set its eyes onto me. I closed the door as quickly as I could, but it already knew where I was, so I don't even know why I tried to hide in there. As I hid in there, I could hear it getting closer. The heavy footsteps and the loud growling noise it made. Most of all, I could smell the stench of blood get heavier as it got closer. It clawed open that door like it was made of paper mache, and it looked at me when it got in. I swear I could see that thing smile when it met my eyes with its own. Then it killed me. Funny thing that is, right? It killed me, but I'm the one that's alive, and it is dead. I should know. I hunted that thing down and shot a bullet through its brain after all. But yes, if you haven't figured it out by now, I can't exactly die. Not while I work at that shitty asylum anyway. You might ask how, but I don't know the answer to that question. But your guess is as good as mine. I don't know why the asylum keeps bringing me back after I die, but it does. And I've tried killing myself outside the asylum too. I thought that maybe, if I was outside of its walls then, it wouldn't be able to bring me back. But no. And every time, every single time I have killed myself by slitting wrists, hanging by a rope, drowning myself, overdose, electrocution. Hell, I even threw myself off a building. I wake up in the damned asylum in my office with a steaming hot cup of coffee, exactly like the day I first died in there. Hell, maybe I actually am dead. But hey, let's not find out about that yet, yeah? Thanks for listening to me. It's not like you had a choice anyway. You were a good audience. And hey, if you want to hang out sometimes, you can find me at the Santa Lucina Asylum. We're always looking for new guests. See ya!
And that is a wrap for episode 9 of Tales from the Catalogs. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you guys are keeping your wits up there. Wouldn't want you guys to end up in the asylum. Anyway, thank you for all your support, and I hope you guys have had so much fun with this podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us on our socials: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and our TikToks. And don't forget to stream on YouTube and on Spotify. And also share it with other people if you like. Anyway, we'll be seeing you in the next episode. Take care, and goodbye.